The music from the club was still echoing in her voice when she shouted it. If you don't like it, Meryl, divorce me. She was standing outside the Uber, one heel already broken, her eyeliner smudged like war paint, her hair reeked of vodka and someone else's cologne. I was standing in the doorway in socks, holding her wedding ring in my hand. Not because she took it off, but because I'd found it on the bathroom floor next to an unopened pregnancy test. Yeah, that part comes later. 3 minutes before she got out of that Uber and screamed her ultimatum into the night, she had texted me a photo of herself at Midnight Thirst. That ridiculous new rooftop nightclub where half the city's divorces are conceived. She was wrapped around some guy with platinum hair and a tattoo of a crying baby on his neck. Her caption? Relax, babe. It's just dancing. 3 minutes after she yelled at me to divorce her, she was pounding on the front door like her life depended on it. Because I didn't argue. I didn't text back. I didn't even stay. I just replied to her photo with one of my own. Not of me. Not of another woman. Just an open drawer. A very specific drawer. And the single item inside it that blew everything wide open. She thought she had secrets. But she didn't realize I had access. I didn't follow her. I didn't shout. I didn't even slam the door when I left. Just locked it quietly behind me and walked out into the night like a ghost who'd finally decided to stop haunting his own home. But inside, I was on fire. My ears were ringing with her words. If you don't like it, divorce me. Not said in pain. Not said in desperation. Said like she was offering me an option on a dinner menu. Like my heartbreak was an inconvenience she couldn't be bothered to care about. She thought I was still the same guy who once cried because she left me on read during a lunch break. The guy who said sorry for raising my voice when I found lipstick on her scarf. The guy who forgave her accidental hotel reservation on Valentine's Day in another man's name. Because she swore it was just a glitch. Yeah, that was me. But tonight wasn't going to end like the others. Because what she didn't know was that I'd already started preparing for this. Weeks ago. Quietly. Softly. The same way she had been lying. And the drawer in the photo? That was her drawer. The one she thought I never looked in. I knew she kept things in there. Old cards, receipts, little souvenirs she claimed were from girls' trips. I had never touched it until last Thursday. That's when I found the burner phone, a cheap, off-brand device, turned off, tucked behind a travel candle and an expired gym pass. I charged it, waited, opened it, and I swear to you, I had to sit down. There were dozens of messages, photos, voice notes, all from one number. No name, just saved as X. Some messages made my stomach turn, others made my hands shake. But I said nothing. I played dumb. I kissed her goodnight like nothing had changed. Because I needed time. And tonight, she gave it to me. She gave me everything. So when she sent me that photo from the club, laughing with X, same tattoo, same face from the burner phone selfies, I didn't scream. I just took a photo of the open drawer, with the burner phone glowing inside. And I sent it with one caption. Oops. I didn't have to say anything else. 30 seconds later, I saw the message status turn to seen. 30 seconds after that, typing, then nothing. Then the Uber notification popped up on the shared account. Drop off, home, Ada, 3 minutes. She was coming. Not for me. Not to talk. She was coming to erase. To cover up. To beg. And she had no idea what I'd already done with the contents of that phone. The moment I heard her car screech into the driveway, I stopped what I was doing and calmly zipped the small laptop case I'd been packing. I didn't rush. I didn't panic. I'd been preparing for this exact moment for 11 days. 11 days of smiling, cooking dinner, folding laundry, Pretending to be the clueless doormat she'd trained me to be while quietly copying every file from that burner phone to a hidden cloud folder labeled Photoshop presets. She never once suspected it. She barely looked at me anymore. The front door flung open so hard it dented the wall. Kira stood there with her heels in her hand and her mascara streaking down both cheeks. Her breathing was frantic, her eyes scanning the living room like she expected flames. I didn't say a word. I just sat there at the dining table, drinking tea like I was waiting for a guest to arrive. She saw the drawer still open, saw the phone sitting exactly where I left it, screen glowing with the last message thread still visible. She snatched it up like it was a lit stick of dynamite. "What did you do, Meryl?" she hissed, voice trembling between fury and fear. I tilted my head. "You told me to divorce you." That was a joke. I was drunk. I didn't mean. She stopped herself, realizing how weak it sounded. "Where's the phone sim? Where's the card? Tell me you didn't open it." I smiled, and that's when she knew. I don't think I've ever seen her afraid before. She always had the upper hand. Always controlled the tone, the timing, the truth. But not tonight. "You think I just found it today?" I asked softly. "Kira, I've had that thing backed up for over a week." "You know what else I found? Screenshots of your little getaway last month. Guess who booked the hotel?" It wasn't Dahlia. Her face went pale. She opened her mouth but nothing came out. "And here's the best part," I added, standing slowly, placing the teacup down. "I didn't send anything to your mother. Not yet. Didn't email your job either. But that cloud folder? It's real. And it's shared." She lunged toward me, grabbing my arm, voice now full panic. "Please, Meryl. Please. You don't understand. It wasn't like that. He was just look, I made mistakes, okay? But if you love me, you won't ruin my life over one." "One what?" I snapped, finally breaking my calm. "One night? 1 year? 1 burner phone? 1 man? 1 baby?" Silence. That last word hit her like a slap. She stumbled back a step, lips parting in disbelief that I knew. But I did. I knew everything. She dropped the phone. And for the first time since this marriage began, I walked away. And she didn't follow. She didn't chase me. Not right away. I think she expected me to cool off like I always did, walk it off, overthink, then apologize for making her feel guilty. That's how our fights usually ended, with me folding and her rewriting the truth in real time. But not this time. This time, I didn't disappear to the couch or the guest room. I disappeared entirely. While she was still staring at that burner phone like it had detonated her entire life. I got into my car and drove straight to the only person who deserved to see what I'd uncovered, her sister, Janelle. Now before you assume I was being petty or dramatic, hear me out. Janelle wasn't just her sister. She was the maid of honor at our wedding, her childhood best friend, and the only person who ever pulled me aside and quietly asked, "Is Kira treating you right?" I never answered. I was too embarrassed, too loyal, too afraid of how bad it actually was. But tonight, I wasn't afraid anymore. I showed up at her apartment around 1:30 a.m. "Ma'am." Her eyes went wide when she saw me. No hello. Just, "What happened?" I handed her the flash drive. "Opened the folder called Oops," I said. She hesitated, then plugged it into her laptop. I watched her face change in real time. Confusion, shock, horror. She covered her mouth when she saw the video files. She asked me 3 times if the messages were real. She asked me once if I was okay. I wasn't, but I nodded anyway. Janelle didn't try to defend her sister. She didn't minimize it or ask me to stay quiet. Instead, she said something I didn't expect. "You know she's been lying about the baby, too. Right?" I froze. "What baby?" Janelle leaned back slowly in her chair and sighed. "She told me she had a miscarriage." But I saw her at the clinic. She wasn't alone. It wasn't your name she gave at check-in. The room spun. All those weird excuses. The stress headaches. The random mood swings. The night she cried for no reason and locked herself in the bathroom. It wasn't grief. It was guilt. I sat in stunned silence, trying to decide if I felt more broken or relieved. Because now I knew, this wasn't a bad night or a rough patch. This was who she really was. The mask had slipped, and I wasn't putting it back on for her. I left Janelle's place with something better than revenge. I left with confirmation, with witnesses, and with a very specific plan. By the time Kira started blowing up my phone with her frantic calls and crocodile texts, I was already sitting in a hotel room downtown, calmly rewriting the end of her story. By the time Kira realized I was gone, really gone, the panic in her voice had shifted. Her first texts were defensive. "You're overreacting, this isn't what you think, I was drunk." But as the hours passed, and I didn't reply, the messages turned frantic, then desperate, then terrifyingly manipulative. "You're scaring me, Meryl. Please just talk to me. I'm worried about you. Please come home. We can fix this. Do not go to our. I swear to God if you ruin my job." And there it was. That little crack. Proof that she finally understood what I'd been holding all along. She had always thought I was too weak to walk away. She built her lies on that foundation. But I wasn't weak. I was just waiting. Waiting for the day when I had enough evidence, enough perspective, and enough rage to act without ever raising my voice. I checked into the Marwood Hotel, the one with the secure business lounge and printers that don't ask questions. I opened the email drafts I'd been building. Subject lines like urgent concern, anonymous submission, and documentation of inappropriate conduct. Everything backed by screenshots, dates, times. Her office affairs weren't just emotional betrayals, they crossed lines. Our violations, conflicts of interest, company property involved. And her boss? Married. With kids. She had made herself the main character of her own soap opera. I was just sending in the script. But before I hit send, I took one final step. I messaged the one person Kira feared more than losing her job. Her mother. Kira always painted herself as the golden daughter. Successful, married, stable. She crafted that image like a brand. Her mother, a retired judge, once told me at Christmas dinner, "I'm so glad Kira found someone like you. You calm her." Well, not anymore. I sent the message with a single photo attached, a blurred still from the burner phone video of Kira in bed with X. No nudity. Just enough. My caption, "I thought you deserved the truth." I turned my phone off after that. I didn't need to see the fallout in real time. By the next morning, 3 things happened almost simultaneously. Kira's office issued an internal notice about an ongoing investigation. Her mother left me a voicemail that began with, "I am disgusted," and ended with, "Whatever you need, I will help." And Kira? She showed up outside the hotel, sobbing into the lobby camera, asking the receptionist to page me. Security had to escort her out. She couldn't scream her way out of this. She couldn't seduce or manipulate or guilt trip her way back in. And still, I wasn't done. By the time I turned my phone back on, the explosion had already happened. Missed calls, voicemails, messages from unknown numbers, some pleading, some furious, one even threatening. But I didn't respond to a single one. I didn't have to. The gears were already turning, and Kira was finally trapped in a machine she couldn't charm or lie her way out of. Her sister Janelle sent me the first real update. Apparently, Kira's boss had been placed on leave pending an inquiry into an undisclosed relationship with a subordinate. Janelle's text read, "She's freaking out. She doesn't know what to do. She keeps asking if you'll undo it." Undo it? She acted like I'd accidentally pressed a button. Like I'd dropped a glass that could just be swept up and forgotten. No, this wasn't something I tripped into. This was the result of years of emotional neglect, gaslighting, manipulation, and betrayal. All wrapped in a designer dress and a fake smile. And she handed me the tools for all of it. I just finally decided to use them. Then came the lawyer. No, not mine. Hers. He called my work number. Said he was representing Kira in a matter of domestic privacy and wanted to discuss a potential defamation claim. I nearly laughed. She thought this was about revenge. She still didn't understand. I wasn't trying to ruin her, I was just done protecting her. So I forwarded the call to my actual lawyer, Trina Holt, who had already drafted the divorce paperwork weeks ago when I first found the burner phone. Trina was ruthless, precise, and 0% interested in Kira's theatrics. Within hours, Kira's lawyer had backed off. Why? Because I had receipts, digital timestamps, location data, and 2 witness statements, Janelle's and one from an anonymous coworker who messaged me, unprompted. After things started unraveling, turns out, I wasn't the only one Kiera had stepped on to feel powerful. There was a trail, and people were done covering for her. I sent Kiera the divorce papers the next morning. I didn't drop them off. I didn't hand them over in person. I FedExed them to her new address. She'd moved out of our house in the middle of the night. Couldn't bear to stay in a place where the walls whispered the truth back at her. No note, no threats, just the final line of the documents bolded and underlined. Irreconcilable differences based on documented infidelity and breach of trust. And while she was still trying to convince people this was all some giant misunderstanding, something unexpected happened. Her mother publicly cut ties with her, made a statement on her own professional blog about being blindsided by the deception of a loved one. It went viral in her legal circles. Apparently, even judges don't like liars, especially when they're their own daughters. Kira was being erased from her own carefully curated narrative, and still, she kept trying to reach me. I knew she wasn't sorry. Not really. She just couldn't handle losing control, but she was about to lose something bigger than control. You'd think by now, after the job suspension, the family fallout, and being served divorce papers, she'd understand that the performance was over. But no, Kira doubled down. She started posting on social media like nothing happened. Inspirational quotes, old vacation throwbacks, even a photo of her holding a cup of coffee with the caption, "Healing, not hating." It was like watching someone try to decorate a house while it burned down. And then, she did something that nearly made me laugh out loud. She tagged me, on a post that read, "Some men break under pressure, others just weren't strong enough to begin with." A passive-aggressive jab wrapped in faux empowerment. Her usual playbook, turn herself into the victim and paint me as the weak, unstable husband who couldn't handle a strong woman. So I decided, for the first time, to break my silence publicly. No rage. No threats. Just facts. I created a clean, neutral blog post, anonymous, of course, detailing exactly what had happened. Dates, receipts, screenshots, all redacted for privacy. Of course, YouTube safe. I blurred faces, hid names, but told the story from start to finish. No exaggeration, just the truth. And I didn't promote it. I didn't link it anywhere. I sent it to one person. Just one. A former coworker of Kiera's, someone she had thrown under the bus during a department reshuffle last year. Someone with a massive LinkedIn following and a long memory. Story. That person reposted the blog with the caption. So, turns out karma writes in full paragraphs. It blew up. Quietly at first. But people talk. People connect dots. And it didn't take long before someone cross-referenced the tattoos mentioned in the story with a certain hour suspended executive. Kira called me from a new number at 2:17 a.m. I didn't answer. She texted, "What the hell did you do?" I responded with one line. "Nothing, something you didn't already do to yourself." The fallout was instant. Her ex, the guy from the burner phone, deleted his accounts. His wife posted a cryptic story about trust being harder to rebuild than it is to destroy. His kids? Apparently, they saw everything. Someone sent me a screenshot of a family member publicly commenting, disgusted. "Don't contact us again." And Kira? She finally stopped posting. But not before she sent me one last email. Not an apology. Not even an admission. Just a single sentence. "I didn't think you had it in you." She was right. Neither did I. But here's the thing. Betrayal doesn't just change the relationship. It changes the betrayed. It sharpens something dull. It turns a whimper into a weapon. And Kira? She taught me that. By trying to destroy me, she helped me rebuild myself. Without her, after that last email, she went quiet. No more late night calls. No more fake apologies. Tragedies. No more twisted justifications wrapped in pity. Just silence. And for the first time in years, I realized how peaceful silence could be when it wasn't being used against me. I stayed in that hotel for another week. Not because I needed to hide, but because I needed space to remember who I was without her. I started waking up early. I went for walks without checking my phone every 10 seconds. I called my brother in Oregon, someone I hadn't really spoken to since our wedding, and told him everything. We laughed, not bitterly, just with the kind of clarity that comes when you finally stop lying to yourself. Eventually, I went back to the house. Not to stay, just to pack what mattered. There wasn't much. Some clothes. A few books. My grandfather's watch. I left her the furniture, the paintings, even the coffee machine she once swore she couldn't live without. Let her sit in the silence she created. Let her stare at the walls she once decorated with her curated little lies. I signed the divorce papers. No contest. She didn't fight it. I think she knew by then that I was done playing the version of me she thought she could break whenever it suited her. I moved into a small apartment above a bookstore. The owner is this older guy named Wes who gives me free coffee in exchange for tech help. I work remotely now, freelance mostly. Really. Less stress. More peace. I even started journaling again, something I used to do before I got married and forgot what my own voice sounded like. A few weeks ago, I met someone new. And no, this isn't some cheesy "she saved me" ending. I saved myself. But she's kind. She listens. She doesn't flinch when I talk about what I've been through. And she never once made me feel like I needed to be anyone but who I really am. I don't check her phone. I don't need to. And I don't feel small when I'm with her. I feel seen. Kira is just a chapter now. One that taught me a lesson I'll never forget. That loving someone doesn't mean tolerating their destruction of you. That being the nice guy doesn't mean you have to be the quiet one. And that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away with your dignity while they stand frozen in the ruins of what they thought they controlled. To anyone out there being made to feel like you're too sensitive, too jealous, too small to matter, listen to me, you're not. You're just waiting to remember how powerful you really are. To me, you're not. You're just waiting to remember how powerful you really are.